All right, today we are going to practice adding fractions with unlike denominators. So before you start your math by yourself assignment, I would like you to watch this video and it will help you hopefully understand what you need to do for math today. So step one, if we look at our anchor chart, which we have in here about adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, right now we cannot add our fractions because they are not the same on the bottom. Step one is that we need to find a common denominator. So that's why I labeled this box step 1, this box step 2, and this box step 3. We haven't learned about step 4, which is simplify yet, because I don't feel that we are ready for that. So we're just practice with 3 steps, which is finding the common denominator, converting to equal fractions, and then adding the answer or subtracting. So in this case, our sign or symbol is adding. So by the time we get to step 3, we will be adding. So we have 8 and 10. So find a common denominator. So these are my 2 denominators. I need to find how they are the same. Now, some of you are getting to the point where you're like, oh, you can just multiply the 2 denominators and that's the common one. Well, sometimes it's not the least common denominator though. So that's what we're going to try and figure out. So I'm going to go ahead and count by 8s. If I don't count my 8s facts, I can look at my multiplication table. I've got 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. I'm going to stop there for a minute. I'm going to count by 10s. 10s are easy. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then 80. All right. So I forgot to tell you, you should be copying down this problem in box in the number 1 spot where it says 1/8 plus 1/10, because I want to make sure that you're copying down this example so that you have an example on your paper to look at when you go to do this by yourself. Well, I still don't have a common denominator, so I'm going to say I have to keep counting by 8s. So now I add 8 to 48, which would make my total 56. Then I do 64, 72, then I found 80. So I'm going to go ahead and circle 80. That is my common denominator. So step 1 is now complete. I'm now going to move down to step 2 and ignore all this writing stuff on the bottom. And step 2 is convert to equal fractions. So step 2 is where we multiply. The only step that we multiply is in step number 2. So I'm going to multiply 1/8 times something to get 80 on the bottom and 1/10 times something to get 80 on the bottom. The important part, 5th graders, is that we have to multiply the numerator and the denominator of the fraction by the same thing. So what am I going to multiply 1/8 by to get to 80? Let's count. I can get to 80 with 8. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to have to multiply the top and the bottom by 10. Remember, if my common denominator is 80 and I'm doing my multiplication right, I don't even have to think about the bottom. It's just going to be 80, which is true because 8 times 10 is 80. And 10 times 1 is 10. So my new equivalent fraction is 1/8 actually becomes 10/80ths. Now I got to do 1/10 and turn it into something with 80 on the bottom. So I don't know what that is yet, so I'm going to count. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to do 8 eighths is what I'm going to do. My bottom should be 80. 8 times 1 is 8. And I end up with 10/80ths. So 1/10 becomes 8/80ths. 10/80ths plus 8/80ths. Remember, I don't add the bottoms. So this is my adding step. 10 plus 8 is 18, and it is 80 on the bottom.